of seconds. Okay. My pleasure. Good evening, Live Lounge. How's everybody doing? My name is Lee Wagner. I'm the director of Canadian talent for Live 88.5. Our team is responsible for a little thing called the Live 88.5 Big Money Shot. Maybe you've heard of it. We give out about $500,000 a year to local bands like yourselves. We also do the WTF concert series. We're bringing lots of great bands into this very small venue for you to enjoy as well. Tonight is the second in our 5-week installment for the Big Money Workshop, where we bring in some exciting, interesting, experienced industry heavyweights, like these three individuals beside me. Tonight is booking agents. So you're in a band, you're kind of a big deal. You can sell at some shows in Ottawa. You're ready for the big jump. It's pretty exciting. What is next? You know, it's more than just your grandma now. You want to go and do some touring. So what do? Well, tonight hopefully you'll learn what to do next. We're going to throw some questions to these guys. We'll talk a little bit about booking shows, how you get on a tour, how do you book a club, things you can look for, if you can make any money doing it. There's a mic down there as well. At some point we'll do the Q&A session, so when we get to that point, as many people as you'd like, come on, jump up here, ask these guys some questions. Hopefully they'll have some insightful answers for you. And without any further ado, I guess we'll get started. Tonight we have Stephen Himmelfarb from the Billions Agency on our far, your left. In the middle we have Jason Furman from Feldman and Colin Lewis from the Agency Group. Thank you very much for coming, gentlemen. Maybe a little round of applause. Good stuff. Maybe we'll just kind of go down the line if you want to just kind of tell everyone what you do, who you work with, anything of interest, hobbies, likes, dislikes, anything. Stephen, you want to start off?
Sure. My name is Stephen Himmelfarb. I work for the Billions Corporation. It's a company, sort of a virtual company. It's based in Chicago. We also have offices in Seattle, Bloomington, Indiana, Portland, and I'm based in a satellite office in Toronto. The company represents acts like Arcade Fire, Death Cab for Cutie, Vampire Weekend. I represent personally Tokyo Police Club, Final Fantasy, Beirut, Ottawa's The Acorn, and a bunch of other stuff. I work my acts in North America, some just for Canada, some North America, but the company generally does North America, as well as Australia, Japan, and South America. And I like playoff hockey and basketball.
Great, all right. Jason, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sorry, on that note, any hockey fans here? Yeah, can you guys do me a solid? If Montreal goes up at any time, let me know. Yes, no? Thank you. I'm Jason Furman. I also do like playoff hockey. I work at a company called Feldman Associates in Toronto. Some of the acts we're responsible for, Tragically Hip, Marley Peace, Rush, Diana Krall, the list goes on. I'm responsible for acts like Classified, to Let's Go to War, to Social Code, even acts like Helix, April Wine, My Territory. It's a territorial company, sorry? Yeah, the wine, of course. I'm primarily responsible for bookings in Southwestern and Northern Ontario, and I'm responsible for all the colleges at Feldman Associates.
Perfect, thanks. And Colin?
Went to candlelight dinners, long walks to the beach, where we're going with this. I'm not a sports dude, so I don't know if you can tell by looking at me. My name's Colin Lewis. I work at the Agency Group. We are a global firm. We have offices in Toronto, Los Angeles, New York, London, and Malmo, Sweden. Highlights from our roster include everybody from Pink Floyd to Nickelback to Three Doors Down to you name it. It's all on the web. It's a lot of lists. It's 50 agents, 5,000 artists. It's a pretty big roster. I'm personally responsible for bands such as Metric, Sum 41, Julie Black, Divine Brown, Matt Dusk, Sarah Slean. It's a pretty eclectic roster. I do all the Canadian Idols, etc. Yeah, I don't know. We're here to talk to you guys about booking bands. Ready to do that? Yeah! All right, let's talk about it.
Nice. All right, we'll get the discussion going. I guess I'll start with a question. You know, everyone here, well, probably almost everyone here is in a band. Various stages of fame. Can probably sell out some shows in Ottawa at different sized venues. Wondering how do you get out of the city? How do you start booking shows elsewhere? And specifically, how does a band get the attention of someone in one of your companies to be put on your roster so you can help tour them across the country?
I think we'd probably all say sell tickets. You know, the reality is, as agents, is that, you know, we're driven individuals that love music and commerce. And when it comes down to it, you know, when you are in a situation as an artist or a band that there is demand such that you're creating commerce and interest, and there's viability for us to help you on an international or national level, that's when our years start burning.
Sure, the bottom line is this is how we pay the bills, right? So eventually, even if we believe in music, I'm a music buff myself, and I know these guys are as well. If I believe in the music, it makes me want to work with it. I want to make sure it makes sense on all aspects. I take chances on bands that may not be making money, but things have to be lined up. I mean, I would look for, you guys have like a manager involved? Is there a label involved? Is there publishing? What's like your advertising angle? I mean, I'm going to look at different aspects before I personally sign or people or other agents will sign. If you're doing well in Ottawa and you're trying to break in other markets, I don't know, simple things, gig swap, work with other bands in other markets to kind of build yourself in their market and vice versa. It's just simple things. It's just, you guys got to do the groundwork for us to come calling as opposed to you coming to us.
I think the best way to get in touch with me anyways is not to hear it from you, but to hear it from someone else. So, you know, again, we all get so many emails from so many bands, but if I hear it from a local promoter, radio guy, being like, hey, check that out, it's just, I'm actually going to check it out, and it's just sort of one step, nothing might happen, but it's one step closer. It's not just, it's almost like leaving us alone directly, like we will come find you, is sort of, you know, how it works most of the time. So it's sort of going through, just being a little savvy and strategic about having people bother us, but on the low, will sort of, you know, perk my ears up a little bit more.
It's funny on that note, a lot of bands will come to me like, you know, will you work with me, or just ask for advice. And just on that note, if you ask, you know, maybe it will happen, maybe not. But the funny thing is, the more you do it organically and you build yourself up, eventually we're going to come around and ask you. The ball's going to be in your court. So I would just encourage you to keep on, you know, going forward with your art, build, and eventually, if it's good enough, it'll come.
Long before I started booking bands, which was, I probably should be embarrassed to admit, it was 15 years ago, I used to manage bands in high school, and you know, the process, and I was a lot like anybody, I wanted an agent, because I thought, well, how am I going to get my band more gigs? This is the obvious way, is have somebody else who knows what they're doing do this job. And, you know, much like any other sort of younger artist, I wasn't getting my calls taken. I did the round of calls at the time. The company Jason works for was the monopoly in our country, and there was only one company that really you could speak to, but there was a couple other guys, and my calls weren't getting returned. And then I figured, you know, well, that's not a good enough excuse to go back to my band list, so I started booking it myself. And, you know, it was definitely painful. I mean, it still is painful. I do it for a living now, unfortunately, and the reality is it doesn't get any easier. It's about being persistent. It's about creating opportunities and looking for you know, angles to exploit. But what I did realize was that once I got to a certain point, and, you know, I'm not going to bore you guys with my life story here, but the band that I represented, we were friends with a whole load of we were grade 11s at the time, and the bands, we were friends with a whole load of grade 13s. Well, they graduated back when they had grade 13, that's how old I am, and they went on to go to universities, and we targeted those colleges, so, or universities, so Peterborough, Trent University, Kingston, Queens, Ottawa and Carleton, like we went to those universities, and we could probably get, you know, wish on or hope for 30 to 50 people, which started snowballing. At a certain point, my band had a touring circuit in Southern Ontario on the 401. We were making money, and all of a sudden, my phone started ringing.